What happened to Helen? Ayodeji Ajagbe. The beginning. It was dark outside as though it would rain. Helen had lost track of time, and Michael had just returned home from a movie location. He was away for 4 weeks and 3 days, working on a movie, and he was tired like he always was most evenings after spending the day working. Helen had been writing as usual, working overtime as her manager, and publishers had been on her neck to make her get her 4th book done. She had experienced writer's block a few weeks back, an obstacle that seemed impenetrable for most writers, and it had taken her some days to break through the barrier. Michael expected to come home to dinner, as he had missed lunch earlier that afternoon due to his unplanned trip to Abuja, the second time in that month, and all he wanted was to have dinner with his wife and rest, but Helen would have none of that, as she needed all the time she could get to finish her 4th novel. She had been like that before they got married 2 years ago, writing one book after another, and this had started to tell on their marriage. Michael, on the other hand, was away most of the time, either moving from one movie location to another, engaging in projects, or replying his fans on his different social media accounts. They would always argue whenever they were together, with Michael threatening to file for divorce and Helen running off to her friend Nonso with tears in her eyes. She would get back home to realize her husband had left for yet another movie location. Helen wished for them to have a child, and Michael wanted that too, but being the most sought-after actor, having a child at that moment was out of the equation for him. The discussion that had started well between the couple that evening quickly escalated into another heated argument. Helen looked on silently in tears as Michael tore her manuscript and smashed her laptop on the floor. She saw her once calm and gentle husband turn into a shadow of his former self. Michael was in a complete rage, screaming at the top of his deep masculine voice as she stood there, staring into space, struggling to take in everything that was happening. She loved her husband right from when they were teenagers, and wouldn't forgive herself should she lose him. She needed him then more than anything else. Michael was burning with rage. He wanted to spend quality time with his wife, but she would rather finish the 5th chapter she had been struggling to write for almost a month. To Helen, scripting novels comes first, even before her marriage, and this broke Michael whenever he thinks about his wife and her dedication to writing. He loved Helen, there's no doubting that, but he felt she was no longer the woman he fell in love with and eventually got married 2 years back. One day, few months back, both parties admitted that their once happy marriage.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?